All right, let's do a quick little sound check. Low, but I think it should pick up a bit here. See, give it a second to equalize itself. You guys can let me know how it's going. Some more food. Birds are getting greedy. They only want a certain kind of seed. I have a red bar that shows me kind of the output volume, but it's not always the best. The headset off, and still coming back to life. Although this part is, I think, something similar to that. Yeah, I could probably play. Yeah, I could probably. Like, I'm gonna die. All right, so interesting day today. Let me hit this. All right, so as you guys can see, markets, we definitely had some movers today. The pound was the one that really took it on the chops the most today. We saw really dollar strength coming back into the markets, which is pretty interesting after the last couple of days we've had. You can see, obviously in the euro, again, euro rose a little bit. Pound just like collapsed versus the dollar. Definitely dollar strength there. Dollar yen more or less flat. Dollar Swiss basically flat. Dollar CAD though up 63. That was a nice move. That's the ATR of that one. So basically that and the pound are the two that actually met their ATRs. Pound yen as well. Again, pound yen down 112. And again, I'll point to that in the last 5 minutes or whatever is a little bit of a retrace, but quite a bit of movement there. I mean, that's the winner as far as pips go. And again, we're seeing that that pound weakness. Euro pound, again, you're seeing the euro go up a little bit. Again, that makes sense. Euro dollar was up as well. And then Aussie dollar down 48 pips, but you guys can see in the last 10, 15 minutes, again, actually, I guess in the last hour, that one has been retracing a little bit back as well. So, again, not necessarily surprised in that one. Seeing dollar strength, again, there's nothing in Australia right now that is technically good. And again, you're seeing this private capital expenditure was obviously much lower than what the forecast was. So that's not great. Again, you're seeing a bit of retracement, but we already know where the Aussie is. It's sitting in areas inside of demand. So not surprising whatsoever. Crude oil. Okay, crude oil. We were watching that one today. We saw that was on the chart. Right before news, we popped right up inside into a 30-minute zone. So it was kind of one of those setups where we're looking to get short. We had some rally early on before, and again, that figure came in more or less. I mean, I would say, yeah, technically it's a miss. There's not as much inventory as expected, but it wasn't a huge miss or anything. I mentioned last night I expected it to come in at like 1.4, or like maybe like 3.4, something like that. Within about a mil. It was a little bit more than that. It was about 2, not even, just a little bit less than 2 to the downside. But still, I think the market had already factored it in. And then after that, it was kind of just off to the races. The prices just collapsed. It just continued to go lower. So, again, I've been cheering for that one. Very, very excited about that one. Especially where it is now, it can keep going. Like it can go down to 40. I'm cool with that too. Send it down there, man. $2 gas. I'm all over $2 gas. I would love that. You want to stimulate the economy? Make gas super cheap. It's an easy way to do it. And oh no, Exxon can't make billions and billions of dollars this year. I'm not worried about it. I'd much rather have the cheap gas. All right. So besides that, again, home sales number was actually pretty positive, which is pretty interesting. I didn't think that number would be. I thought that would actually be negative, as well as there was a revision before. So again, good numbers across the board there. Going into tomorrow, again, you guys look at the news today. You guys can see. Bank of Korea holds rates. Wall Street expects 3 cuts this year with coronavirus fears, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see with that one. I don't know how much you're really going to cut it. I don't think we want to get into that. They've already said that they don't want to go in the negative interest rate. I just don't see us cutting too much. I don't know. Trump would be extremely happy if we have 3 cuts because that would start jacking the market even more, but we'll see. This is interesting. Have plans on quarantines on a larger scale if needed. Again, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I've heard a couple comments on this one today. Different people, a couple other experts out there, and I guess I didn't listen to the CDC report, but there's like this one. First U.S. coronavirus of unknown origin. Well, it came from somewhere, right? It came from somewhere. So, we'll see. Um, I still think they're making it worse than what it actually needs to be. But again, if you can drive fear into the market, sure, sounds great. Sounds great. The interesting thing I thought about this one too was I heard it earlier today on the news. They were talking about the more fear there is with the coronavirus, the more of a chance that Bernie Sanders has of winning the election, which I thought was an interesting combination. I was like, I don't know. I mean, if you look at the cultures that are, again, he's, basically the socialist, communist type backing. It's like those countries tend not to do well when there's like, situations like this because everything's for the state and equal. And I don't know, they just don't tend to do as well. So it was kind of like, I'm not exactly sure how more coronavirus actually helps him. Haven't figured that one out yet, but yeah, that's what they were saying. Um, the worse the coronavirus gets, the more it helps Bernie. And I'm like, okay, sure. I don't know. Maybe I don't know, medicine. Maybe I don't know. I'm not sure. I couldn't figure it out, but yeah, that's supposedly what's going to happen. Um, One big thing to talk about too here is over here talking about, the EU is ready to offer the UK super preferential access to EU markets. That's kind of interesting. And again, that obviously is why we saw some of the movement today in the euro. I'm interested to see why that caused as much weakness as it actually did. Um, eh, yeah, we'll see. Again, this is not, kind of good news too as well, right? 27 people were tested for it, all negative, right? I've been New York because it'll be the big cities that get it first. Like I said, we ever have zombie? I forget who it was today. Oh, it was Jim Cramer. Jim Cramer basically said today on CNBC that this is the coronavirus. This is not the zombie apocalypse. We're not there yet. So, people need to stop talking about it. I was like, whoa. So yeah, the zombie apocalypse was actually mentioned on CNBC today as a valid argument. So I was pretty excited and pretty amused by that one. Every so often I get really excited about something, and I thought that was awesome that he was talking about the zombie apocalypse. So looking at the scanner today, a lot different than what we saw last night. Last night, a lot of consolidation across the board. Really nothing. It was just it was crazy, right? A lot of consolidation. A lot of people didn't know things, and again, today we know a bit more. And again, we can see more setups, more confirmed statuses. Again, this poor Aussie basket over here. I mean, everything in the Aussie just screams down, right? Look at this. I mean, there's not even like a blue, like slight dab. It's just everything is straight down, just a pressure to the downside. So kind of crazy, right? And meanwhile, Europe is up, right? Now, the interesting thing about Europe is I saw a few different articles today talking about how Europe is really in some trouble because again, with the way that they have the open border system over there, that it would be very easy for the coronavirus to spread like all the way through Europe. Like, you see the infect like the United States is pretty well protected unless we fly people in, right? We're not pretty much we're not getting much from Canada, we're not getting much from, Mexico, right? Europe, you can just take a train and be anywhere, right? It's all over the place. And so I think we're a little bit more protected, but yeah, they were saying so what I'm getting at here, guys, is I'm wondering if this kind of strengthened the euro. People are kind of preparing for, hey, listen, let's start getting this price up a little bit, so when the news does hit, we can start shorting this thing and make a heck of a lot of money off of it. Is kind of where I think they're going at it. Talking about supply chain, I get it. Again, this is really hurting China in a lot of the discussions. I guess in the CDC, they said they could have a vaccine within a year. I think it'll be much faster than that. I would probably expect that they would have some type of experimental thing that they're testing within probably 2 months. You know, Coronavirus itself is not a new thing. We've, SARS and those bird flu and stuff. They're all, I guess, within the same kind of family. So this is just a different strain kind of situation. Again, this is not going to be as hard to come up with some type of treatment, vaccine, something for it, immunotherapy. My guess would be they would come up with an immunotherapy about it. So many people are into that kind of they're dived into that realm now with the immunotherapies. It's not like this is brand new, like we've never seen it before. It's a novel set of viruses. So again, I think immunotherapy is the way. I think that that's where they're going to be. And I guess Gilead was seeing a lot of perks in their stock price because of that. And again, they're one of the leaders with it. So um, it's cutting off for you now. Yeah, I can't do anything about that. Maybe because I moved it, but it should be fine. It's, it's extended. It's there. I can see a red bar going across, so it's taking the information in. Maybe, maybe, maybe. What are you saying? Bernie has an economic IQ of a potato. Yeah, pretty much, right? I don't know. I've heard so many highlights from it. Like, I'm just totally confused. Like, I didn't think he was a horrible guy. I think I basically think that, he had like the screw job last time with the whole Hillary thing where the Democrats like, no, we're just going to give it to Hillary. It's okay. Just go away. Um, but listening to the excerpts of like the debate and everything, I'm like, God, this guy is like, I don't even know. Like, he was making the comment about like Hitler and stuff like that. I'm like, how? I mean, could you imagine if like Trump made a comment like that about Hitler, but yet Bernie's making it, and like Democrats are like, yeah, let's get Trump out and let's put Bernie in because that sounds like a really good idea. I'm like, what? What? I don't know. I don't know. Like all the young candidates that seemed like they would have been okay choices, they're all gone, and now it's like we have crazy, crazy, or crazier. I'm waiting for Nancy Pelosi to throw her hat and be like, you know what? I'm running for president. That's like all we need now. Um, Marijuana can cure corona. Maybe, but only if there's really salty chips. Yeah, the Cuba reference as well. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like yeah, he mentioned that as well. I don't know. And like they were saying, somebody was talking about how you need Florida to win. You need Florida to win the election, and then he made the comments about Cuba, which is, I'm like, I don't know if that's a good thing or I don't know. I just can't like. Are we like is the country lost enough that you can make comments like that and win? I just I don't have any idea. Um, yeah, but yeah, don't know. I don't know. My wife's Canadian, so I can move that direction if I need to. I'm good. The rest of y'all, I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, not sure, guys. But anyway, so let's dive into the scanner, as I mentioned before. A lot of different things going on here. So looking at the majors again, sideways, sideways up, sideways up. Again, confirmations in euro, dollar, dollar CAD. Not surprised there. Again, New Zealand and Aussie, both of them still downtrend confirmed. Dollar Swiss down confirmed, which I thought was interesting. Dollar yen consolidation again after 2 gigantic days. We expect, pound dollar. Again, that one's kind of split. We have one up, one down, one up, and consolidating. So that one's a little bit flat. Looking into the European basket, the second one over here, right? As I mentioned before, you will see the color coding. This is pretty much basically showing us that it's strong euro, right? We're seeing an anchor break to the top side in euro Aussie, euro pound consolidation, but it is up. Again, we know what's going on with there. Sideways, again, consolidation inside of the euro yen, but versus the New Zealand, the dollar, and the Swiss, we all have up, and then dollar CAD or euro CAD down, which is kind of a funky one to be down. Don't know exactly what's going on with that one, but that one is weird. Going into the CAD basket, though, look at the CAD basket. Okay, the CAD basket is showing mostly weakness, except against the euro, which is kind of funky, right? Euro CAD is over here with this kind of reading. It's like, what is this, right? Where? How? Everything is up, and then the CAD basket, and what do we got here? Down, 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 except versus the euro. It's like, what? What? So, again, a little bit of strength coming in this second pair, right? And again, these two up here, up, up. So, I don't know, kind of funky. I don't know. I wouldn't say that the CAD is driving anything, is what I'm getting at. But again, Aussie CAD and New Zealand CAD, again, kind of similar, right? Aussie and New Zealand, we can interchange between the two. Downtrend setup situations, it's a little bit different in the 4 hour, and the 1 hour is slightly different as well. Just it's the confirmed here versus the anchor break and the consolidation. So those will be catching up. But again, the two anchor breaks down here at the bottom to the downside, right? Again, CAD is in the first position. Again, we're showing weakness in those two, right? And then downtrend setup, downtrend setup. So those are pretty even as well. Again, this CAD yen will be very interesting to look at where that one is at. Look in the Aussie basket, red. Red, that's all we can say. Everything is straight down for the Aussie. Again, that country just can't catch a break. So don't know. Again, downtrend setups pretty much across the board. On the 4 hour Aussie CAD, we do have an anchor break to the top side, but everything else downtrend setup. You can see just red. And then pound, more or less everything is up except the pound yen, right? Pound yen and pound Swiss are both heading to the downside. And again, we already know what's going on with the euro pound. But for the most part, we do have some strength in here versus these two. And again, for it to be green, we're showing a little bit of an up day. And again, you guys can see that one is down 105. So yeah, downtrend setup, pulling back a little bit right now, but again, 105 is a big day. It's over its ATR, so it's been a long time since it's really had that much of a movement. We have like one good day and then like 2 or 3 bad days in a row. All right, but for the most part, the biggest thing that I'm excited about looking at this scanner is really the Aussie pairs, because we know that they are all in the bottom of range, and the question is, have they broken through demand zones? They were kind of pulling off those demand zones. Are we pulling back down again? Are we going to take another attempt to break them and then continue to run to the downside? What is it, running north of the border? Yeah, yeah, yeah. She came here, I can go there, so it's only fair. That was the funniest part of the immigration hearing, like in meeting with the lawyer and everything, to have her come to the States for her like permanent resident card and everything. They were like, yeah, this is a pretty easy thing from Canada because she gains absolutely nothing by coming to the United States, and in regards to some countries, her status as a Canadian citizen is actually higher than an American citizen. So I was like, oh, lovely, great. So it's kind of like, huh, should I go the other direction too? And guys like, probably wouldn't hurt. So yeah, eventually I'll be saying A, another U.S. taxpayer. Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, there, it's annoying. Like even money, yeah, it's such a, and honestly, it's such a racket. The amount of money that she has to pay, it's just ridiculous. It's like, how much do we have to pay for this application? And how much time did this actually take? And what type of background check did you do? Yeah. And she started the process when they started putting like the kibosh on people, coming here. But, basically she came for a visit, was allowed, and we got married and she got to stay. So end of story. Yeah, I'll be saying A. Yeah. And trust me, as much as I joke about that, half of every sentence that she says does end in A. And I give her a hard time about it every single time. I told her if the baby ever starts saying A that we were getting divorced. Yeah, I can't go there. Baby is not allowed to say A, A. Every time there's a question mark, it's A. So yeah, the baby will not say A. All right, so that's a scanner. Like I said, most excited about Aussie. Pound's kind of intriguing, and then some of the European pairs are pretty good as well. All right. She doesn't say that one, but A is. But A is every time there's a question mark, it's A. A boot is Midwest. That is that's like where like Sean is from, like middle of America. They say like pop and weird stuff like that. Like, who wants to pop? Like, you want to pop you in a face? No, just kidding. No, Toronto's basically like New York #2. Toronto is super clean though. They don't have trash in Toronto. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. No trash. I went up there and I didn't believe it, and I was like, what? What? And then I got up there and I was like, wow, there is actually no trash. Dude, not like you. Not like New York, where like every day you guys pile it in the alley behind the main buildings, and then even like in the main streets. I've never seen more trash than I did when I was working in New York. They're like, well, there's a lot of people here. We got a lot of trash. But just the amount of like they like stacking it 2 cars high in the streets every day, it's like, I don't understand that. And then Toronto, they have no trash. And like I grew up outside of Philadelphia. We'd go there all the time. Never saw that type of trash there. But New York, you guys love your trash. Just pile it in the street. I mean, it's like huge. It's insane. And then like, one of the buildings gets like bed bugs or something. And like then there's like 100 mattresses out. It's like, what the heck is going on? And like, oh, that building must have got infected. So they just throw everything out. Like I'm like, just, crazy. Yeah, the rats up there are unbelievable. They're basically cats. And the other thing what's weird there too, if you guys have ever been to New York, especially in like the New York Stock Exchange, it has the old cobblestone, like the old cobblestone, like the pavers and stuff all over the place. Like I've always been an animal person, right? Like, and I always lived like in the woods, and dogs like to pee on grass. Up there, dogs don't have any idea; they just pee anywhere. And it's like, you have a dog just squatting like on cobblestone sheets. It's like, really? You couldn't have? I mean, there's no trees, no nothing. It's weird. My dog would never do that in a million years. My dog wouldn't go to the bathroom. It would be horrible. Horrible. Yeah. It's Put it this way. New York is an experience. You get free bed bugs. Yeah. It's an experience in New York. And if anybody here is from New York, I apologize. Like I said, I worked up there for about a year and a half. It was a lot of fun. It was definitely a learning experience. It's a nice place to visit. I wouldn't move there permanently, but it was definitely a nice place to visit. I enjoyed my time up there. Learned a lot of things. It is a cultural experience. If you don't like people, it's not for you. And I mean, just crazy stuff. I mean, you see people like basically fighting and stuff like on a subway, and everybody ignored. Like, hey, that person's getting mugged. Everybody just ignores it. It's like, oh, it's not me. I don't care. It's just weird. Very strange. All right, so Aussie dollar. Let's look here first. Okay, Aussie dollar down 50 pips today. You guys can see on the daily. big push to the downside, right? And we hit these violated zones. You'll see that we had a couple different violated zones on the top side here, right? Right? Nothing close, right? Looking at this on a weekly basis, kind of the same thing. I mean, this thing is just heading down. It's been so long since price has been back here. We just really can't find a whole lot for it to run into, right? So looking at it on a 4-hour, you guys can see, it's kind of one of those things. It's a downtrend setup. Can we find some place to get in is the big question, okay? Now bring it down to like an hourly basis. It gives us the same idea. And again, we can still see downtrend setup, right? Question is there great zones? And there's a few that are okay. Nothing, again, on the hourly that is screaming we need to enter it. And even the 30-minute, you can see 30-minute, 4-hour, still a downtrend setup, right? So we know we have something down here. And we've seen price pro back and forth. And it's kind of like, can we find somewhere to really get into this? Problem is, I mean, like looking to the left, like going up and to the left, this is not really a great level because of this red candle. And if you see this red candle here, it's pulling from this base, okay? So here would have been the area that it's pulling from. Now, is that the best area in the world? The answer is not really. I mean, it spent a lot of time there, a couple hours. It dropped. It kind of went sideways. It pulled down, but again, retested, and then collapsed. So it's been retested about twice. Is it a tradable level? Probably. Looking at this to the downside, I mean, that's really all we have. I mean, there's really not a whole lot else to get into this one. And if you see where the placement is, I mean, if it does come back up or we do get any type of spike, there's not a whole lot in this range, right? So again, going into this area, find 1 to 3. We don't know where the basing levels are going to be, if it pops or whatever. And even your 1 to 5 is not, it's before the low. So you can see price has gone lower, lower, and lower. So not in a bad placement, but as far as anything with the Aussie, that's the best we got. We're looking for a pullback, some type of a push up. It's got to come from somewhere. But, if it starts to turn and flip down again, we still don't have a really, really clean entry in this one. So we'll see. Hopefully tomorrow night it gives us a little bit better of a setup for Friday morning. But this one truly may be a gap on Sunday. I know it's only Wednesday. It's a couple days out, but there's just not a lot in here. There's not a lot of easy movement. It's just grinding lower on all the different time frames. And we don't see any demand below. Looking at Aussie New Zealand, okay, you guys can see that this one on the 1 hour at least took a bounce. But here's what we had. This one is in a different situation. It's not as super low. And again, it's because the Aussie and New Zealand pairs are both kind of in the same situation. We see there's a little bit of basing here. Again, more or less a downtrend. Missed this entry. We marked that off and talked about it. Again, pull down, pull back. Again, downtrend set up on the 4-hour and the daily. But is there a clean level here? Not really. Nothing that's super, super clean. Looking at the 1 hour, you can see that we did bounce right off of that level. And you can see this is a tested level, right? You guys can see that here's a level. This is where it formed this basing level before it popped. It pushed here, and then again, it got front run. So again, valid kind of place for it. Didn't expect it to move this far off that area, but again, it basically tapped the top and continued to push higher. So it's an area that we have to be respectful of. We got to figure out, hey, listen, there are some buyers down there. So you would turn this into a target, not necessarily to go long, but it's kind of like, can we get into this for some type of a short? This area is kind of junky, right? Kind of junky. And then if you drop it down on the 30-minute, there, it's kind of the same thing, right? We talked about this last night. Like, is there a good level in here? Not really. Nothing super clean. Like, this is probably the best one up top. So you could throw something along the lines of here. And again, very similar to the last one. If we get a rally up, that gives us kind of a clearing down. It's not at a low. It's kind of more of a kind of intermediary kind of entry in this one. That's really the best we got. Unfortunately, Aussie and New Zealand are both kind of in the same economic situation right now. It's not like either one is in a great position, and both of them are affected by the Chinese, the virus data coming from there. Looking at Aussie Yen, okay? So you guys can see Aussie Yen on the weekly. We're not at super lows. On the daily, you can see we are approaching a daily demand zone. And again, we kind of got close, and we're kind of sitting there almost like in a doji right now. Be very cautious with any shorts. I know, again, we are in a downtrend. This was green a second ago. We were in a downtrend setup. So got to be careful shorting this one because we know we have daily demand right below us, okay? On the 4-hour, again, you can see it actually, there's an actual little bit better of a level here. This is kind of breaking into two. We're sitting right there. Now, this provides an interesting situation because both those other setups that we had needed the price of the Aussie to go up, right? While this is sitting inside of an area of daily demand, or 4-hour demand. Breaking it down to an hourly, can't see anything because it's been so long since it's been back here. So kind of one of those things. We keep bouncing off of things, and I think, can we see it here? No, I can't. Nothing really from there, but you're seeing it bounce, 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 right? So that's kind of an interesting scenario because, hey, listen, if this does move up, the other two pairs that we touched, what was it, the Aussie dollar, New Zealand, this one comes up here, and this one comes up here. Okay, you see we're looking for these two both to rise. Yet on this Aussie yen, again, if this bounces and comes up, bam and bam. That gives us two potential entries there. So interesting how that is kind of setting up. All right. I don't know if I would take it for long. Let me see how long that area is. Pretty big. Damn, it's a 40 pip area. So not really necessarily interested in taking that as a long. And the problem is on the hourly, we can't really get a good read of, where it is. The only thing we'd be able to do, and again, and this is pretty junky bottom here, if we got like a failure to go higher, right? Or I'm sorry, failure to go lower. So this, but inverse. If we get a push up and it gives us a quick little level and then we get a retest entry, that's about the only thing I'd be looking for. And we don't have one right now to take this long. But if we can get something in this range in here, again, this would be your profit target. Make sure you get out before this opposing zone up here at 72.90. Okay. And again, you'd be looking to do, again, it'd be like if this thing popped from here. Whoops, it'd be this way. Right? Some type of a pop here, right? And price goes up and then comes back and touches the top. That would be our trigger for long. And again, we want to make sure, again, you can see the 1 to 3 is in a great place, depending on where it is and how much risk that there is. But something along those lines is what I'd be looking for to get into a long position on this one. I wouldn't do it just blindly off of the 4 hour. But I like the 4 hour, again, because of what I see here on the 30 minute and here on the 30 minute. Okay. Now looking at Aussie CAD. You guys will see we had a zone up there. We didn't make it. We are technically in a downtrend setup. Again, having a little bit of a pullback. The 4 hours kind of doing the same thing. And again, this zone is all the way up top. I'll just remove it now because it's got a ways to go. You guys can see this is the one we set up last night. And we talked about it. And now we have this new zone being put in. So did go a little bit lower today. It has not really kind of exploded out. We haven't had anything drawn yet. Here's what we're looking like on the hourly. So you can see this is where we opened on Sunday. We went slightly lower. And again, this is kind of, I mean, it's not the best, but I mean, there's kind of the, hey, listen, we didn't go lower. We did have a nice pop up, but again, this is kind of one of those like kind of picking the bottom, and it did just actually hit a 1 to 3. This actually one wouldn't be bad for 1 to 5. You entered this one a few hours ago, and again, that's kind of what I'm talking about with the Aussie yen. Something very very similar. So you're gonna have to, it's home. That's Uber talk. Yeah, most people have no idea what that is, Sean, just FYI. They're like, what? What is Sean drunk? People from Minnesota. I can't do the accent because I'm not from there. My wife's from Traverse City. My ex-wife is from Traverse City. Said pop all the time. I don't want to hear it. That's Ubers. So again, there would have been your entry. Basically, I want to see this, guys, in the Aussie yen, and that's kind of what we're looking for. All right. So that would be Aussie yen, Aussie Swiss. Aussie Swiss, let's skip. Nothing really love it. Aussie Singapore. Bam! Look at that, guys. So we're back. We went from the midway point all the way back down in the bottom. Told you guys it would retrace, and it retraced. It's all the way. This has been an interesting one to ride. There you go. There's on the 4 hour. You guys can see what we were able to do here today. Flirting around this line and all the way back down again. Interesting thing is it bounced right off the top of it. Didn't surprise at that one. Didn't catch that one. Didn't realize that one until just now. You guys can see it here again. Still a downtrend setup, but we would not take a downtrend setup because, again, downtrend setup into an area of demand on the higher time frames, both the 4 hour as well as the daily. So not anything we really want to kind of take now. Now, we do have a green, red, green, which is interesting. If it breaks through, I think we can start kind of heading back to the top side. But I'd like to get some demand levels that are actually showing up in here that meet the kind of qualifications of, big spike, big exit, nice entry in before we start taking any longs in the Aussie. All right, in this pair. So going across the CAD. Yeah, it's not bad. They have good fudge. All right, so, look at that. So I marked off a couple zones that weren't bad in this one. So let's go here to the daily. All right, now you guys can see, obviously this one had peaked and just collapsed today, right? It just continued its collapse to the downside. Here on the 4-hour, you guys can see again, this one dropped down a bit, not super, super far. There's our hourly, right? And then here's our 30-minute where I said levels were not bad. We could take a couple of these things. So here's where we are now at 21:30, and at 21:30 last night is right here. Right here, right? So if we hit B, you guys can go back and say, okay, hey, listen, we have a couple zones in here. I said, I like this zone. This one was kind of a retest. It ended up grabbing that middle zone. Interesting enough. And again, that was the one that I was like, I didn't like that one. I actually like this one. And you guys can see it kind of skirted across and popped and then immediately pulled down again. So interesting position where this one grabbed. I really like this one a lot better. You guys can see where the check marks were. And again, it blew through my zone, grabbed that middle zone that I had marked off. I mean, you guys can see it right there. Look at that. Grab that thing and then just shot to the downside. So a little bit of play in that one. And again, none of these targets down here you would have taken. This is a bad level. This one, again, you can see there's a little bit of a bounce off of it. It's basically at that level right now. So, yeah, it's completing. It did, it's kind of, it's where it is. Now, there is a level. I can actually remove this. Yeah, I was going to say. There is a level right now where we're sitting. So, if anything, at this point, I would say we wouldn't necessarily have CAD weakness in this one. I would actually see some CAD strength coming into this one right now, based off of both of these. Again, this is where it started, and it popped all the way up and came all the way, back down again. Again, parabolic retracement, guys, right? Pop up, got one push higher, and then that failure to go, and then boom, all the way back again, to the downside with that one, right? And now we're back where we were having a lot of problems. We popped up, came down, popped up, came down, and we were basing right in this level here, kind of where current price is. So it'll be interesting to see where we go with it. Nothing that screams right now that, hey, I need to get into this CAD position. So that is CAD yen and then CAD Swiss. Okay. CAD Swiss on the daily again, driving back down again. It's not quite in the daily. I'm going to wait for this one to get down again, being a, kind of a weird hybrid pair. This one needs to get a bit lower. You guys can see it's pushing, it's making an effort, it's moving, but until we get down to this zone down here at 72.71, not necessarily interested in looking at that position. All right. Looking at the Swiss, here is the daily. Now again, downtrend setup on the daily and weekly. This one is still pushing over. On the 4-hour, you can see this one actually did have a zone that it created and then actually pushed higher. Now, this is that zone we were still talking about. I'll remove it because it's there. Interestingly enough, again, you don't have the movement, but this went all the way back up until we got to this zone of basing. And I think we mentioned that last night, right? But again, this is what we're looking for kind of in the Aussie yen is kind of the same thing. Now, if you pop this, you can see if price pushes up, it will break above that 1.3. 1.5, I don't think we're going to get to. I think 1.5 will be a little bit of a push. This basing level had some problems last time. Again, it pushed that deep into it. That's got to go farther and break through the wick over wick. So if you're looking to get into this position, again, or if you're already in the position, this is the type of grab that I was talking about. A pop up, a retest, and a push forward. Be cautious with this one. Don't go for a 1.5. I think it's a bit too much. I don't think you'll get the actual entry. On the 1 hour, you guys can see on the 1 hour, you actually would have missed. It would have been a little bit lower. It would have been here, which in this point, I'm fine with the 1 to 3 and the 1 to 5. The placement on those are good. But again, sometimes you got to make that call. I'm going to do it on 1 hour, and this is only it's 13 pips on this one. So you may have gotten front run on this position. There's not a whole lot you can do. And actually on this one, you would have got front run on the short as well. You guys can see up here. Here's where the level would have started, and you actually didn't make it up to that zone. So kind of bit of consolidation in both directions. And again, in consolidating markets, you need to use more of the 4 hours. And again, you can see the 4 hour here, your entry would have been fine. You would have made it. But again, bigger risk, got to make sure you have enough room to run. I was Brian when you were talking about the NYC bed bugs and couldn't react. But here it is. Ew. Hey, there's a lot of people in New York. Like I said, it only takes one bad apple and messes it up for everybody. New York is an interesting place. He said, if there ever are zombies, I'm not going to New York City. Last place I'm going. I'm telling you, at this point, guys, we've watched like The Walking Dead, we've watched Resident Evil. I'm telling you, the best place to go to if zombies happen is a prison, right? They're meant to keep people in, but they also keep people out too, right? Those are the best places. I got one down the street. I am going to the prison, right? I will let all the prisoners out and then lock the doors, and then I am good, right? Going to the prisons. So if you've learned anything, guys, that's what we're doing. So this one again, we're moving up. Again, this is a great example of what you should be looking for in the Aussie yen if you're going to take that one long. Dropping over into the European baskets. Thought if I did plural, I would get. Aussie. So look at this thing on the daily. Man, look at this is just crazy, right? Another huge day up. I was like, oh, it's gonna have some problems. It's running into some stuff here, and then bam, it went higher on the daily. So we are definitely high in the curve on this one. Again, it's not where we were looking to sell, but man, in the near term, I mean, again, I need to stretch it this way because this is what we got. This thing is on fire on the daily, right? On the 4 hour, you can see here, now that we've cleared, we got nothing, right? This is almost like it'd be considered like an all-time high. There's just nothing to get into. And even on the 4 hour, there's no great level here. It's just grind, 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 grind. Like poor Australia. Like this is not European strength here. This is purely European weakness. And I mean, look at this. Even here on the hourly, we got a couple areas. Again, there was a test here that you could have got, you could have got in on. This one here is okay, but for the most part, there's just not a lot really to, even chunk in on any of these things, right? It's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And again, on the daily, that's where we had that first really good level up top. It's pretty far away. So this can continue to evolve in the same direction. Not a lot of entries on this one. I mean, you do not want to buy when we're hitting all-time highs. That's like the worst time to do it. But can it continue to push higher? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'd like it to kind of put a top in here and kind of do what the Dow and the rest of the indices did, was kind of do that failure, kind of come sideways and then collapse on us, Oh, I was like, what the heck is this pink thing? Hey, Wealth Builder, we need to talk. You're on my friends list for Twitch, but you have like this fuchsia colored like icon. You need to get a better one. It's too bright. I like looking over it. I'm like, who's this bright pink person? I need to get you a better one. This is what I'm talking about. You guys can see it. Oops, not that. Hold on. See this? I keep seeing this one. I'm like, oh, who's this online? I'm like, oh, it's Wealth Builder. All right. Saturday night's date. Jeez. All right, so I'm not going to really try to top this one, guys, until this one puts in some levels of supply. I'm not going to mess with it. In an uptrend setup right now, there's not really necessarily a clean little zone that it can grab from. So, for the most part, Aussie, it's not worth it right now. EuroCAD, same position, but this one has got a little bit closer of an area. So if this one pushes much higher, about 80 pips, and again, that's about 1 ATR. So tomorrow night, if this has another big day, or just average day, right, it does 1 ATR, it's sitting in an area where we may be looking to want to short this thing, right? Now, I'm going to adjust the microphone real quick. Here's how I could see this unfolding. If we get another day where we have some CAD weakness and this euro position goes up, again, we are going to hear eventually where the coronavirus is in Europe, and it's becoming an issue, and there's more cases. We are going to. Everybody's going to get their chance, right? Europe so far has been pretty much unscathed, right? And we had Italy, right? They mentioned Italy, but nobody else, right? Nobody else. Another good day, and then Friday, because remember, everybody loves dumping crap on Friday. Be interesting if we could get up to here by Friday, and then whether Friday or Saturday, we hear some coronavirus news, right? That could lead us into a nice little red week, right? Nice little red week as euro weakness comes back in. Again, that would give us this one. Euro Aussie would give us a bunch of different trades, but that's how this one's kind of setting up. And again, I'll take this. Obviously this changes the colors. That's the indicator with that downtrend setup. Look at that. It was straight, basically down what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Basically 2 weeks, it was straight down. It hit a demand zone, boom, turned, and now we're 6 days straight up. No pullbacks, right? Look at this. Do you have that anywhere else? No. So again, waiting for some news to drop over here. If we can get up into that zone, I like this one. Okay, love that, right? No pullbacks yet. It's 3/4 of the way down. It could definitely come back to the downside and go start grabbing demand lower here. So, yeah, Yeah, liking that one. I'm not going to drop the lower time frame because I think this is the trade. I think we wait for this one, and again, it's either tomorrow night or Friday. Euro pound. So interesting enough, Euro pound again has rallied out of this daily demand zone farther than I thought it would. I thought once this got down to here on this red candle right here, I was like, this thing is smoked. It's going. It's gonna base here, and it's gonna push. And then we got that one little pop, and I was like, And now it's popped. It's retested back in, and now it's pushing higher. So I don't like this area here, but I am a big fan of this on the daily. Whoops. I do like that one. And I do like this 1 to 3. I like how there's a basing level here. So if we have a spike up or any type of green, I like this one on the daily. Okay, I'm a big fan of this one. So that's basically what I'm looking at for that. On 4 hour, again, you got some little zones here, but I really like that upper section. 1 hour, again, you can kind of see what it's been doing, right? Nothing great. I mean, little tiny kind of divots here. I honestly, I think the call is this. I think we wait and we take this up here. In lower time frames, yeah. Entry is basically saying here's your risk. Basically, here's your risky entry. There's your conservative entry, and it covers both of them. So I mean, these are small. I mean, these are 16. So you could break this into two if you wanted. You could take one shot here and one shot here if you wanted to. If this one fails, okay, then enter here. Either way, your first profit target is about 150 to the downside. So there could be some nice movement in this one. Again, daily is going to be a longer term position. Again, daily is 60 pips, and this one is about 95. So this is, again, we're rooting for this one to go straight up and be up here on Friday. Okay, but I think there's some nice ones. Obviously, during the day, again, 30-minute windows. Again, you got a little area sitting right above where we are, and more of an intraday during the day. That one I have some stuff marked off. Daily on this one. So we were going back down and we stopped and we kind of pushed back up again. So this one is in a consolidation phase, right? Euro yen was one of the ones that was kind of boring. Now, we did have a little wick over wick, and it came up and got front run and pushed back down again. It's driving up to there. I think it will hit that area. I don't think there's much that can stop it until that area. And again, it wouldn't be this one. It would be right here. Okay. And it's clean, and it went right to where this one went before, went just slightly further. And you can see this one spent no time, went up and got slapped back down real fast. So that's what I'm looking for here. 120.60 to 120.73. So 13 pip risk on that one on the hourly for Euro Yen. Euro New Zealand. This thing's another one of the crazy ones. Look, all the way up. Okay. Now, again, I checked this one off. I still think that top one is our best bet on the daily. On the 4 hour, you can see we do have a couple zones here. We are ending the first one right now, and it drove pretty deep. Its first attempt, it pushed in. I think it will go through this zone. Like I said, we marked off 3. I like the last one the best based off of these kind of the areas. This one, again, wasn't my favorite. I told you that because of the, this little spike here. This next one had a big push off of it, right? So it did hit multiple times. I do think it has a, above average risk of failure because it keeps pushing higher, 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 higher. But again, its reaction off this drop sideways and then just absolute collapse shows me there's something sitting there. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, is for price to come up a bit higher on this one, back up in the 174 kind of 19 range. I think that would be the first attempt. Because it went through this zone so easy, I may actually move this little green and say, okay, listen, let's look at this area instead as a first attempt. The risk on it, I believe, is not very big. It's 25, which is, again, that's small for this pair. This one has the daily ATR of 125. I'm sorry, 112. So not necessarily a bad level. And again, it's a 4 hour level, so you typically tend to get some power. But anything lower than that, you see nothing. That's why we had to take a little. Here we are on the daily. We did pull up. We did get this level of basing, and this is where we were looking to get entered. So I don't know if anybody got into this one. This one had about 15 pip risk. We just got into it right now. This is something that we could potentially take in the overnight. 1 to 3 were fine for this target. Again, it is before the move here. Let's check it on the hourly. Hourly, you're probably okay as well. And on the hourly, you can see that this zone is a bit higher. So you could wait, you could wait a little bit if you wanted to, or look for a net exposition overnight on this one. Again, the 1 to 3 is fine. You're 1 to 3 is at 106.67, and then the second target on this one is 108.38. I'm actually okay with that as well. This one is obviously sitting right in front of the marked off zone here, which is great. That's perfect. You want to make sure you're right in front of the opposing zone. So short from here down, great. 1 to 3, no problem. Your 1 to 5, it's just slightly low. I would probably have a profit target sitting right there just above, but that's not bad. Not a bad little setup in this one. And again, the risk is fine. 15 pips is in the range that we like to be in. It would be somewhat of a reversal, but again, big, Europe day to day or Euro day to day, we could definitely see it kind of flip and turn to the downside, bring some dollar strength back into the market. All right. 6 minutes ago, let's see. The U.S. identifies first coronavirus case without ties to outbreak. The patient doesn't appear to have traveled to China or been exposed to another case of coronavirus. A little while ago on Bloomberg. That one does, but we'll see. Again, guys, if anything, I think this is not a bad trade. If it goes against you, it's 15 pips. That's the risk that we take as traders. Looking at Euro Singapore again. This one on the daily. Now this one is pushing higher again. Obviously, we've had Euro strength today. It did push. It was already starting to pull back again. Quite a large area. Even on the 4 hour, you can see we're still stuck in that range. And then we hit the 1 and we got nothing. Right. One, there's too many candles before we have any good zones, because we are pushing higher than what we were. Right. Higher than this level, and it's just been so long. There's no data that back that far. Nothing we can do about that one. So, you guys can see it here on the daily. Like I said, from this zone, I think this top one is a lot better of an area. That next zone up there starts at 153.26. I think that is a much better area than trying to top this one the way this one is. It's hit, it pulled back again, and then it's punched. I think we're going to end up heading higher. I'm going to go have another good day on this one. Again, once we get higher, we need to 90-something pips. This one has a daily pip of daily ATR of 74. One more push higher. One more day. Tomorrow night, this will be one we'll look at and spend a little bit more. There's a short potential in that one. Going across to the pound. All right. Let's pull this bad boy up. All right. So, pound. Obviously, today we had some movement in the pound. Pound dollar was down 74. Pound yen was down 112. Looking across at the scanner. Okay. You guys can see the pound. Consolidating, consolidating, consolidating. Downtrend setup. Confirmation. Uptrend. Yes, we are in somewhat of a, again, you could say, hey, listen, the red is outside. It is definitely not consolidating, but we're still stuck inside of the same channel back and forth again. We haven't been able to break higher to either of the two dailies. In the 4 hour window, okay, now we have pushed down, and I talked about it last night, right? Here's where we are right now. And here's where we were last night, right here, okay, right in the middle. Mentioned if we come down, there's a potential long situation in there, okay? Now, the risk level on this on the 4 hour is about 20 pips, so not ideal, right? It has hit, it has pushed out again. It would be a profitable position at this time. You were able to kind of see it here as well. This is actually a little bit lower. This was the 10 pip one on the hourly. So had you taken this on the hourly, that's kind of what you're looking at. That one. And again, it's been a couple hours since that time, but bringing it up to a 4 hour, you guys can see we're still kind of in that range. Obviously, this is going to be much bigger. Don't like 25 typically, but you guys will see we're definitely hitting areas on the 4 hour, the 1 hour. Daily, we're kind of smack in the middle. But again, we marked these two levels off and said, hey, if we get here or here, we need to start focusing and change our bias on that one. And again, the entry for it was on the 1 hour, unfortunately. Like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, do it this way. 8 hours ago? So there was your entry, there was your pop, but it didn't do much. It came up, hit your target, and it's the same exact spot. So this is kind of one of those ones where it's choppy, 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 choppy. But I would say going into tomorrow, I would be more bullish. The pound, especially versus the yen tomorrow. I think this one will probably pull back. It hasn't exploded higher, but both attempts that it had coming down, it got turned around immediately off this level at 142.23. And again, small zone, 142.23 to 142.14. So again, small risk on that one based off the hourly, which is not bad. All right. So again, bullish on that one. Looking at pound Aussie. Here we go. Again, high on the curve. Again, price hasn't been here for a very, very long time. You can see that we do have levels of supply much higher. So drop it down to a 4-hour, kind of the same thing. We really don't see too much to the top. We do see some not bad basing levels, but price hasn't pulled back. It just kept going. Going on the hourly, though, again, you can see that it pierced. This will disappear when I refresh this chart. But you can see, what has it done here? It's hit. It's gone higher. It's hit again. It's hit again. It's having some problems, right? So when I refresh it, obviously you can see that it's gone, but there's the violated zones, right? Top and bottom. You're seeing it's wicking above, wicking below, going back again, and then again, these, even though they're violated, it's forcing back inside of that same range. So it's one of those ones you got to look at it and say, hey, listen, are we trending? And the answer is no, we're not trending right now. We are going sideways, and that makes it a very difficult pair to trade because what is it doing? It's going up, it's going down, it's going up. I mean, it's in the same exact spot, hasn't moved, right? Remove this pop, did the same exact thing here. Right here was Friday. You look at it here. You know, it opened here and then went right back down exactly where it closed, right? And then remove this piece, right? Here's your 3 pop, and it's at the same exact spot again. It's just not moving. When it's not moving, you don't trade it. Pound dollar. So pound dollar, you can see again, we are pushing down. We are still getting our lower lows, just haven't gotten there yet. On the 4-hour, you can see we did just bounce off a 4-hour zone. So we are kind of in a downtrend setup, but we did just bounce off a zone. So you want to make sure that we be careful with this one. You don't necessarily want to counter trend trade it. Here's it on the lower level. You can see it was a zone. It wasn't great. It actually pierced pretty deeply, but it was able to hold. It actually got, kind of front run the kind of buyers in there, and is now pushed higher. So, excuse me, downtrend setup into an area of buyers. It's kind of a big no-no, right? And again, you can see it here. Can't really see it here yet. So again, this one does look like it's going to have the same type of bullish movement today or tomorrow. It looks like it's continuing higher. There's not a whole lot to slow it down or stop it really until we get back up into the range up in 129.20. What is it? 129.94. So we got about 70 pips from here up. Yeah, about 70 pips before we really run into an area where we should be looking to short. Ideally, I would like to get this short tomorrow. This one has a daily ATR of 82. So it is within striking distance. It popped up very fast. It dropped very, very fast. So if we get to that rally again, I'd be looking to take the short back down to this zone. I think price will come down to this level. Okay. I do think that, this here will be a good level. That's kind of what I'm looking for is as far as targets. We got to deal with this, shorter time frame kind of bounce that we're hitting into. And again, it got front run, but when it does find sellers, I think the next attempt through, I don't think this is going to hold as well as it has in the past. Like I said, it's been pierced, it's been hit a few times, and again, we're on the bottom side. Now, if it continues to rally, again, no entry. But until we get up top, we really want to take this top or bottom. I'm really looking for a break at this level is what I'm looking for. All right. Let's see. Pound CAD. Looks very similar, right? Similar pattern, right? Kind of wedged in, right? Got a little higher, got a little lower, more or less based inside of the same top, bottom, right? And again, rubber band effect. One higher, one lower, and we're stuck. Okay, so again, no trend on the daily. Your 4-hour, you can see right here, the 4-hour is sitting inside of a zone. This was a crappy zone. I told you I wouldn't take it. It ended up doing okay. Went up in base and then dropped a little bit before it pulled back, but too much risk. Just not enough risk reward for me. Again, being an off pair, having a bigger spread, and really, again, on the 4-hour, not really any basing, or not really any, no trend. I mean, this is kind of what we're looking at, right? Here, straight across. Okay, here's Friday, kind of pop, and again, from the initial pop, it's at the same exact spot. Okay, no trend on the CAD, on the pound CAD. Pound Singapore, how about that one? There is our entry. We talked about it the other day, right? Basically getting into this, we said we were sitting right there, so close, and again, look, we got it right there. Okay, the green one actually touched. We dropped all the way back down again to the 4-hour demand zone. So we're in an area now where, again, I'm seeing pound strength in this case. So again, it's another one of the pairs. This is the third pair now where we're seeing that we're sitting inside of demand levels on side of the 4-hour. So not a bad level. Not that I would take this one long, but using this one as a proxy, saying, hey, listen, we've come down. We've come from the upper end of the curve, right, all the way to the bottom end of the curve. Let's see, let's see what happens now. So I don't necessarily want to trade it with pound Singapore, but I do like it with the other 2 pound pairs that we do have in this area. Have it pop, get to that top side again. Give it some strength, get up to areas where everything is sitting inside of supply, and then we short it across the board. That's really what I'm looking for. Pound Swiss, this one's just going to the opposite direction. But daily, we're sitting inside of a demand zone again. Zone is a buy. Yet another one where we have sitting in a demand zone. We got a little bit more space to go, and this one right here, you guys can see it. It went all the way down to here. This green right here is all the way down to there. So not the cleanest zone, but if we do get down there, because it is coinciding on multiple time frames, it may be willing to, maybe something to look at. And you can see on this hourly, it's been so long, we got nothing. Got nothing there. So 4 hours, we're going to do the analysis. So it's only got to move 32 pips. That's its daily. It's its ATR on a 30 or on a 4 hour. Daily ATR is 82, so it definitely can get down to that range. We'll see what this one does, but again, another one approaching demand. And then New Zealand is the exact opposite. New Zealand, again, same as the Aussie, right? Pound Aussie, pound New Zealand, basically same chart setups. We're sitting up inside of demand right now. This would kind of give us a little bit of a reversal, a flip. We'll see if it can break this one again. The dailies are typically pretty good, but this one is super volatile. 162 as far as ATR goes. This can easily burn you if you guys aren't careful. And in fact, if you look at this daily zone up top, it's 166 pips. So not something we necessarily want to take, but use it for where it's at. Again, it's pound Aussie and pound New Zealand, same exact spot. Super weakness in New Zealand and the Aussie, and they're both obviously exposed, and will continue to be. Okay, going to New Zealand. Yeah, we dive right into New Zealand. New Zealand CAD. Okay, New Zealand CAD is sitting right here. Whoops. We talked about it last night. And what did we do? We dropped into it and we stopped. Okay, so sitting inside a daily demand. Again, that weakness we see drop, right? Drop, drop, drop. Here we go again. CAD has been strengthening. Weak, 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 weak. Area demand. Saying, hey, listen, we may have some New Zealand strength come back in, which coincides with the chart we just looked at. The pound New Zealand was high, right? Meaning that we had pound strength, New Zealand weakness. This is down here saying that, again, same thing, New Zealand weakness, CAD strength, but now we're in demand here on the daily, right? Here and the 4 hour. So again, it's lining up for a bit of a reversal. And again, this is New Zealand CAD, right? Just happens to coincide with the pound New Zealand in the opposite direction. So that kind of shows me that we could probably be, again, there's a probability of us seeing a reversal in this pair to the top side here, downside in the other one. As you guys can see here, didn't really, again, we drove down fully into the zone. We are sitting in the aggressive entry. Again, same situation. New Zealand dollar down inside of an area of demand. We'll see if the dollar is able to hold and continue to gain strength. If not, again, we will see a bounce, which will also match the previous 2 charts that we've seen. Okay, 4 hour, same situation. You guys are seeing how these are all matching up, right? They're all basically going to supply and demand at the same time, and that's where you tend to see the same reversals. This one we need to get a little bit lower on the 4 hour, but you can see the daily, we're already sitting in there. 4 hour, we need to go just a little bit lower before in the sweet spot for this one. Same thing. Now, problem with me on this one is, the risk level on this one is about 31 on the 4 hour. I'm using this one more as kind of a proxy saying, okay, where are we at? Where are we going? Again, you guys can see we get the big zone marked off here. All right, so close. All right, so New Zealand yen. New Zealand yen is not all the way down yet. It is pushing, and I mentioned this last night. Here is our candle from yesterday, right here. This is a lot of junk to kind of push through. Ideally, I wish this was down here. I'd be looking to take longs off of it. This is actually not a bad one, 62 pip ATR, so it's not horrible. This is a lot of junk, right? A lot of big candles, and again, it's just no movement, but it's like up, down, up, down, up, down, back and forth, and that makes it very difficult to pull any type of real information off of it. As you can see, the indicator is kind of pulling or trying to pull, right? It's pulling a zone here, a zone here, a zone here. But, this one has been tested 3 times. This one here is actually, kind of a double hit of this basing level here. So there's some junk in there, but it's kind of funky. I like this thing. I wish this thing would just fall, right? I wish this would just collapse all the way down. As soon as we get low on the curve, I'll be much more interested in taking this pair. So it's sitting in some junk here, but unfortunately not a whole lot to trade. Looking on the 30, there's a couple more, smaller levels and things. A little entry was here. Again, reacting off of this zone. Some ways to continue to the downside, but nothing in the overnights that we can take. Looking at New Zealand Swiss, again, look at this guy. All the way down. We're super low. Can't even find a demand zone at this point. It just keeps pushing lower, right? Again, New Zealand weakness, a little bit of CAD, a little bit of Swiss strength on this one. So that you could have taken. Here, there's not as many retests, right? Bunch of levels being thrown in, but price is just not coming back. It just continues. Dollar, okay. Dollar Singapore. Here's the 4 hour selling zone here, but for the most part, a little bit slower day in this pair. Looking at the dollar yen. You can see there was the drive right up, and again, what did we see today? A little bit of a pullback, right? We're down 27 in the last 24 hours. Again, it pulled up and then pushed down. Not too much. You guys can see a lot of basing, right? Count 6 candles back on the 4 hour. We're sitting right over here, right? We're sitting, this is where we are right now at 21, and then going back, you guys will see at the bottom, 21 is right here. So 27 pip difference, a little bit of up, a little bit of down. I mean, the whole area is only about 35, 40 pips. Not really anything we can trade. You know, on the 30 minute, you guys can see, we mentioned it last night, we had these two levels and we're basing. There was that news spike, it went up and went down, and again, we've hit the top, and again, the lows are getting higher, and the highs are, you know, at this point, starting to get lower. So we do see consolidation. It is kind of preparing for bit of a, I'd say some type of a big jump, some type of a spike. Tomorrow, all we have is core durable goods and preliminary GDP. Unless the GDP number is really bad, I don't know that we're going to get a lot of movement off of that. Now, maybe there'll be more people talking about coronavirus in New York and all that kind of stuff. We'll see. I don't know. Oh, baby's throwing stuff in the hallway. So, I don't know. Like I said, not as much on this one. Would I take this top zone again? Let's see. It's about 14 pips. It drove very deeply into the zone, so I don't know that I would take it again. And again, you guys can see, look at this, little tiny, not necessarily the best. Here's the hourly. The hourly is kind of showing us it's boxed in at this point in two different directions, and we're sitting right in the middle. So depending on where the open is tomorrow, again, if we're opening in either of these two zones, yeah, there could definitely be some type of reversal from that level. That's probably the best thing we're looking for, is whether taking it short from up here or long from down here. Wait till it comes up. Wait till it goes up to 110.56, or wait till it comes down to 110.01. All right, little 50 pip range there. Dollar Swiss. Let's see, dollar Swiss is down 33. So again, a little bit from where it was last night. It has an ATR of 44, so didn't quite hit it. And it's just kind of sitting right here, right? We talked about getting some type of a collapse, right? And we haven't gotten the collapse. It punched in and pulled right back up again. We didn't get the white space we were looking for. You guys can see right there. We were waiting for a collapse of the zone, and it just didn't collapse through. So it punched through and came back up and grabbed some winners, and we're sitting in the same area again. I just deleted it at this point. It didn't do what we wanted it to do, and how much space we got to the downside there. Get about 30 pips, 15. So you don't even have the 3-to-1 from this zone to this zone. So a bit too much consolidation. Dollar CAD. Here's a daily. Dollar CAD. We are, again, kind of the upper end of the range. Again, we had some, CAD weakness, dollar strength pushing up. Again, not too bad. Again, you guys can see here on the 4 hour, it hit and has pulled away already from the zone. I actually think this wouldn't be a bad short tomorrow. Again, we did have some, I'd say overall versus in this pair, we definitely saw some strength in the dollar, but we also saw a lot of dollar we saw dollar weakness versus the euro. Versus the pound, obviously, we had some great dollar strength. Versus the Swiss, we saw some dollar weakness, and versus the yen, we saw some dollar weakness. So, again, the fact that this one popped, we could be looking for a retracement tomorrow. This is quite a big zone, though. This zone is about 45 pips, or about was that 40? Hold on. Yeah, 37 pips. Sorry, I was like, I don't think it's 40. 37 pips. So kind of an area, and again, if you look at on over here on the hourly, you lose it. You can't see it. It's just been too many bars back. It's only it's pulling 1,000 bars back. So it's in a range. I could see definitely some type of reversal tomorrow. What I may look for tomorrow morning is, again, right before news. News is at 8:30 tomorrow morning. Look for some type of a failure to go higher situation, right? I mean, we got, we have a higher high right now. So, I mean, if you wanted to kind of mark it off, you could. It is a double top, so it's not necessarily the best. It's a double wick. that's where we are right now. It hasn't really pulled away for a retest. You kind of need one more push down with a red and then look for an entry, right? So you could look for something along these lines tomorrow, right? If you can get the pullback. And again, the 1 to 3, fine. 1 to 5, I may take that off at 1 to 4, right? I think 1 to 4 would probably be the best way to take that one. All right, so that would be dollar CAD tomorrow. Dollar Singapore, again, I already mentioned that one. Not interested as much, right? All right, let's go to the I call this one the oil frame, right? First things first, this is what I had looking for oil today. This is what I had set up for it. Was looking for news was happening around here. And I was like, okay, let's see. It pulled up and it was sitting in this zone. I was like, let's see if it holds. I said that. And then in the next 15 minutes, it went up, 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 and news kicked in right there. Right? News kicked in right in this area in here. Okay, we're sitting right over here. I was like, yep, this is perfect. Right? Oil came in at 10:30. 10:30 is right here. So I was like, yes, it pushed up into that zone and actually was like, yep, looking to get short. And then this was the end result. This thing went from 50.23 all the way down to 48.12. So nice move, nice short. I think a couple other people got this one today. Was pretty excited. And again, this is a standard news setup, guys. Remember, there's two ways to take news, right? There's the before in the breakout strategy, and then there's the after in the parabolic retracement, right? Now, again, this one kind of did its simple drop into level. It didn't have a kind of a crazy spike, right? It kind of went sideways a little bit and then continued to push. It wasn't, if it was a big spike like this, we'd be looking to take a retest, but again, didn't necessarily need a retest on it today. But yeah, there was just early morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, rally, 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 rally. And I'm like, yep, 9:30, hour to go. Let's see if it holds. Nope, it continues to push. Right before the news, we came up, we touched this level of basing, and boom, collapse. Okay, so if you didn't get this one, you're not attending enough chart schools. All right. Where we are now, again, on the daily, look at this. I love this. Right? I love this. Nothing until we get down to $42. I would love for it to go to $42. It won't. I'll tell you right now, it's not going to 42. But it would be great if it did. I would like it if it did, but it's not going to 42, unfortunately. And even on the 4 hour, we don't really have a whole lot in here. So downside, I'm not taking it long anytime soon. I wouldn't take it long until we got a kind of a nice basing level and something draws. But yeah, according to the indicator, we got nothing until 42. I would, don't get me wrong, I'd love for it to get to 42. I love it, but it's not going there. That's too much of a move in too fast of a period of time. It also gets below where they say that fracking and all this and stuff like that. It's you start losing a little bit more control because you become not. Heck, if we get down to $40 again, it's going to be all the talk about, hey, listen, there's no money in oil. Maybe we should go back and do solar again. Could we make money on it? It's just one of those things. And it's not that we can't produce oil that cheap. It's just that people don't want to pump it that cheap. They'll stop pumping it just to raise the price back up again. It's a pain. It's so pullback did not go to all-time highs again, and this is the junk that gold traders have had to deal with today, right? Back and forth. Whipsaw, baby. And there missed an entry by a very, very small amount, and boom, pulled back down again. We're in that area right now. If anything, I would have to be short this, looking at once, what, 1650 to 1654. Basically, it's almost, actually, I guess it's 1650.76. Bit of range, but again, we've already pushed up to that area. It's had problems with that area before. I mean, we could have marked that area over here, so you could have probably taken the short actually from. Okay. And again, once that went in, then we could refine that zone and make it small. And it went down. Now we're in the for a third. So would be short, but short this guy. Looking across at silver. IO silver. Boom. And then just Not as much movement in this one. You guys can see this one opposite. It was not kind of hitting high. This one's actually hitting the low side, and it did hit the 4-hour zone and actually pop a little bit off of it. It wasn't a huge reaction, and this is one of those ones we hate to see, right? We hate for it to come down, pull back and base below, right above the level, and then come back down again. That's kind of what it did, right? You guys can see here on the 1 hour. You know, this is that weird funky gap. It like gap down. There's one candle, then a gap back up again. So silver is a little bit harder to trade today. Like I said, the gap is strange. And right now, again, here's my top and bottom for silver. Top side, we're sitting at what, 18.14. Bottom side, we're sitting at 17.43, and we're just kind of floating around, kind of in the middle. Again, this is a. There's where you could have taken this today. Either way, you can see the red actually goes above it. You could have taken it from there, or you could have taken it from there. Short in silver today. Let's see, where did it hit? Yeah, this morning. It would hit this morning. All right, so there was a short on silver. Looking at the indices, let's start with the S&P. All right, back up to the daily. So interesting enough, the S&P has come down and it's cranked this level. Okay, it has hit the level. Then we had a little bit of a bounce. There was actually some green. It did actually bounce out of the level, but then turn and push. And you guys can see that on some of the lower time frames in here. You guys will see it hit the level, came back up again, and then continuing to push down. Okay, so there was an entry off on this one that I think we had marked off yesterday, but we got front run. Okay, it hit, it pulled up. We talked about a level, and then it collapsed. So it got missed. It was right there. You guys can see it. It's this zone. Got super, super close. It was there. And I liked it running it back to the level, and I actually went deep into the level. So pretty sure this level smoked at this point. I wouldn't trade any longs out of this level. Even on the 4 hour, you can see there's a couple levels below it. But at this point, I think you got to look on the lower time frame. For some stuff in here. So this level is basically done. Again, we missed our entry on that one. At this point, let me see. Let me pull this off. Ellie. Not a horrible level, actually, here. He tested it here, and that's where. We're not going to get it tonight, probably. But see how this is bouncing right now? See how it's a green candle? If we can get a clean base like this, that would give us a great place to short from. Great place to short from. Yeah, I hope we get if we can get a base and a push down. This middle level, I'm not really concerned about. The one it's in right now, it'd be interesting to see if it can break through that one. This level right here. Not the worst level. Tested there. Let's see. It would have been nicer if we had something here. So let's see. Let's drop it down a lower time frame. See what we got. These things. See, there's a nice little base right there. We'll probably watch this one tomorrow morning. See where we're at tomorrow morning. 8 a.m. I think will be a good one. Preliminary GDP will probably bump this one way or the other. We'll see what we get out of it. Let's see Dow. You guys can see Dow on the 4 hour, same thing, sitting inside of the zone. Daily, you can't see it. It's this wick over wick right here. See it, same thing. We're getting a little pop off of it right now. Here's a question. Let's see. Could we get a pop to the downside? An interesting little kind of setup right there. See if we can get a little Harry Potter trade going here. A break of 65. What is it? 26,598. If we can get a break below that, get a little bit of space, and then use that as basically our risk level, and take that to the downside, would put us at profit targets at 26,396 and 26,261. Those could be interesting setups for tomorrow. And again, that's based off the 4-hour level. Did on the 1 hour too. That's not bad. But check that out. I'll follow that one tomorrow. Tonight I don't think it. Probably not going to get it. And then Nasdaq. Let's see what we got here. Still collapsing pretty good. Good over here. This is not a good level, so you wouldn't take this level. Don't see this and be like, I'm going long. Like you can see, it's putting in levels, but it's not. Yeah, so I wouldn't trade anything. Like I said, it's not an overnight swing market right now. These would be all short-term trades. So nothing great in those. Like I said, I think what I like the most right now, guys, are obviously the like this. Like where we're sitting in a lot of these pairs, right? I like that this is low, right? I like that we're seeing this zone, 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 and we marked off a couple of the other ones. Same thing with the Aussie pairs. Kind of similar situations, right? Again, this one needs to come up. This one needs to come up. This one is already down, getting ready to come up. Again, that will stimulate this. This one, same thing. If it pulls back, again, we get an entry here. And again, this is super low and pulling back. Okay, so again, we're getting a lot of these kind of complementary type trades. Yeah, so again, high here, push it up, sell, push it up, sell. This one pulls back again. Again, this is a smaller time frame than this. This is a 4-hour. This comes back down, gives us entry here and here. Okay, so a couple different things. It's kind of like if this one does this, do this. If this one does this, if this does this, if this one does this one is going to do this. So a bunch of different small setups, particularly in the Aussie and then the pound. So keep track of those. And then again, a lot of the indices and stuff, we'll check on those tomorrow morning for the GDP number. All right. Right. They control the value. What? All right. So, guys, we got 12 people entering into the contest tonight. I will give you guys about another minute. Around 18:30, I will go ahead and shut this down. It looks like everybody is in for a single tonight. No one has been brave enough to pull a double. Like I said, those doubles have been working. You can double your chance. You're still ahead on pip chips for the night. And go in there for it. What do we got in here? And I have not, by the way, before you guys ask, I have not reset the totals yet for pip chips. So just want to give the winner their pip chips tonight. Don't go crazy. You have to do hashtag ticket too? Yeah, I was gonna say you just bought 2, Ernest. Ernest is like, I'm going for broke tonight, baby. I'm going for 3. What percentage is that now? I don't even know. All right, there it's at 30. I told you guys I'd close it down, and the winner of tonight's drawing is. Oh! He steals it with a 5.88 chance. Q, I think that's the first time you ever won, isn't it? I really feel like that's the first time you've ever won. First one didn't take. I don't think he's ever won before. I honestly think this is the first time he's ever won. Now, yes, you did win something. All right, now here, wait. Oh, but he only did one. Ernest is all into the one now. Wait, he only did one. Let me check. Yeah, he only did one. So let's see. He won tonight, but I'm gonna do the second drawing just to see, make sure that it pulls him out. Like I don't think it's possible that he wins again, but if he does, then we know that it, what happens with it. So second winner. Oop, no. Draw a second winner. Okay, so all right, so he didn't win, so we didn't get a double in there. So that's what I was looking for. Because remember, guys, if we do the double, if you win the double, we were gonna do 100 pip chips. All right, so no double tonight. So this one is complete. And let's give out our pip chips. Now, again, remember, guys, I have not adjusted these yet. And again, there's still that warning, so let's not get crazy. Give him his 25 pip chips for the night. There we go. So again, ignore these. They will be fixed. I just haven't done it yet. Very busy day today. youth sports are cranking up, and I have a tournament that I'm planning for. So, by the way, Brian, you never gave me my 25 for Monday. I did. I did. It was down here. I did it. I did as soon as I knew that it was broken. Don't worry. Oh, maybe I didn't. There. Gave you 25. But you should have gotten it. I don't know why you wouldn't have. But yeah, they'll all come back. Don't worry. Yep. Cute. Cute. That's like the first time you've won, I think, too. I think it's literally been that long. I don't think you've ever won one before. All right, guys. So with that being said, I'm out of here. I'll catch you tomorrow morning. And don't forget, tomorrow morning, this is what we have looking for news. We have the current account, which is not really a big thing. It could be if it's really off on CAD, but durable goods can be a parabolic retracement setup. Preliminary GDP absolutely can be as well. Now, again, preliminary GDP doesn't miss as often. You have many times throughout the year where this one doesn't miss. Okay, but if you do have something like this where it misses by 0.2, yeah, you're going to see some movement, particularly because the president is very big on not only the stock market but also GDP, right? GDP and growth. So that preliminary number could send the market moving tomorrow. And then pending home sales, I wouldn't worry about as much. All right. So that's your news in the morning. All right. So with that being said, guys, I am out of here. I will catch you guys tomorrow.